We are continuing our journey of the P2P framework, and we're moving on to that yellow circle talking about external positioning. Now, there's a lot of components in there, so I do want you to zero in on what would really help you the most in this moment, right? If you're watching this, and I'd like you to implement, because that's how you create the changes, the shifts, and move forward. So I'm going to be talking about external positioning. I call it prolific positioning, and there are certain things that are included. But for this particular video, I'm going to be covering specifically personalization at scale. And that is a term that to me represents what the big opportunity is in being able to connect directly with your premium prospect. Because the fact of the matter is, it is a busy, busy, busy world, and people have a lot of different advertising, a lot of messaging, a lot of products, services, people, all kinds of activities going on at any given time. So it's a noisy world. And I'm sure you've heard the ever so popular, the attention span of a goldfish. And I don't know what the actual source of this is, but it is something that I've used before. So in the year 2000, it was noted that the average human attention span was about 12 seconds. It is now down to 8 seconds as of 2013, probably this year even lower. But the attention span of a goldfish is 9 seconds. So the goldfish there, my goldfish friend, has a higher attention span than a human being. Why? Because we're bombarded with so many different options. So do you see how it's absolutely mission critical that we are being very much on purpose with the messaging that we're putting out there, with what it is that we're saying, how we are attracting our premium prospects? And further, just bringing this concept home, really nailing it down, is that back in the day, when I was working on different product introductions and whatnot, it was a lot of different criteria that we would look at. And again, this is just an example of a candy bar, let's say. So in the case of that one project that I told you about that I was working on, the cookie. So for the cookie, we had looked at how was that cookie going to be consumed, right? And really looking at this concept of personalization at scale, because not everybody was going to be engaging with that cookie the same way, right? There are dads and moms and individuals and couples. And so when you really understand that something as simple as a cookie gets to be narrowed in on that personalization at scale, meaning the messaging is different for dads, the messaging is different for couples, individuals on the go, for moms, for business travelers, etc., etc., etc. So personalization at scale is, how do you directly connect with your consumer in a way that's relevant? Because the only thing that matters to your customer is their life in the future and taking care of these pains that they have, right? So beyond the geographics and the demographics, I know that you've heard this whole concept of the ideal customer. And so perhaps for you, this video is just a pulse check. You're like, yep, I got it nailed down. I tell you, the way that I do it is a lot more deep dive. And I can honestly say, in all the years that I've ever done this, I never see anyone that has their perfect customer nailed down. I mean, really nailed down. And so for this one, I'm going to give you a very macro level, 3,000-foot view. And I can't possibly go into all the nuances of how this is done, but I can give you at the core what you should be looking at to engage with your perfect customer, your premium prospect, is understanding pain to gain. Very simple. As you know, I like to keep things really simple. So when you look at pain to gain, you're moving, you're helping. Where can you catch your prospects at the moment where they have a lot of pain going on and they're looking for a solution? And how do you tap into their hopes, fears, and desires in a way that's connecting emotionally with them? Do you see how I constantly talk about this whole concept of emotional connection? It's the only thing that matters. It's the reason why people buy. Remember, I've said this a few times now around how the brain processes information. And while most of society, when they're selling their widgets or their things or their mousetraps, are focusing on logical logical explanations of it. Hey, it's faster, it's better. They don't care. Your premium prospect doesn't care. They're buying on emotion. And when you, at being a really good marketer, the thing that you do, understand that why they're buying is because of their hopes, fears, or desires, and you can meet that. And so the call to action for this video is really understanding, hey, what does your premium prospect, what do they experience because they haven't found your solution? So just answer these 3 questions for yourself to get your wheels turning and to move forward on how you can best serve your premium prospect. Is how does your solution address his or her hopes? How does your solution address their fears? Or how does their solution really impact or address the desires that they have? And if you can meet your marketing message according to any one of these, it's going to help you get to this level of marketing, and that's where the gold is. That's exactly where the gold is. So really the call to action here is, remember, the only thing that matters is your customer. So as much as you think your product or service is fantastic, and it probably is, remember, it is their perception. They get to determine what they think about you. You don't get to determine it. So the way to get to that level of understanding with them so that you're connecting is when you are being seen as the solution to get them from their pain to a gain, to what they're looking for. Because what they're looking for is a better future, right? A happier future. They want to run from their problems and run towards pleasure. That's what they're running from, and towards pleasure. So in understanding your ideal prospect, your premium prospect, the only thing that matters is understanding their hopes, fears, and desires at a minimum. So perhaps this is a pulse check for you. Are you specifically addressing hopes, fears, and desires? Because if you're not, you're going to be selling on logic and you're missing the boat, because the buying happens on emotion. So post below and let me know what your thoughts are on what you're going to be doing to connect at a greater level, on an emotional level, addressing the hopes, fears, and desires, so that you can connect at a greater level with your premium prospect.